adding more than two integers, we want to combine the integers that are alike, then use the sayings from before to finish solving. So if I go through, hopefully I have this, it says to touch, and I can't remember what I did with this for my touch, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my markers here. So when I look at this problem, this is what I do. I go ahead and I'm very visual, so I like to kind of circle ones that have the same symbol, okay, because here's a positive and here's a positive. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put those together. So same symbols, find the sum. So I'm going to add them together. 7 plus 9 gives me 16. Okay, and I'm going to apply the same symbol. So I have a positive 16 for that part. Then this is what's left over. There's nothing for me to combine this negative 1 with right now to simplify it. So we're going to go ahead and just do the plus negative 1. Okay, so now we're back to what we were just doing on the previous slide. See, now we're down to two numbers. So we've got different symbols. Okay, when I look at these different symbols, find the difference. So the difference would be 16 minus 1 would give me 15. Apply the larger sign. The larger number is a 16 and it had a positive answer, so it's positive 15. Oops. And just for today, I am going to go ahead and put that positive sign in front of it, just so that I'm not forgetting that last step. When you're first going through and learning how to work with integers, once you get comfortable with identifying what the digit is, kids forget to go back and decide was it positive or negative. So even with your positives, at least for as we're just starting to learn these, go ahead and put that positive sign in there. Doesn't want to erase. I don't know what's going on there. So we're going to delete this quick. Delete. Okay, so let's try another one. Okay, so the first thing I do when I look at this, I'm going to use purple. Purple's like my favorite color. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at this. I see a positive here, and it has a match of a positive here. Okay, so same symbol, find the sum. So 9 would be the sum of 7 plus 2. So now I'm going to look at it like this. Positive 9 plus, and then I had a negative 3 left over because there was nothing to group this 3 with, right? And we'll eventually get to some that have more than just 3. Okay, so now different symbols. Find the difference. So difference is to subtract. So 9 is the bigger digit. Don't worry about the positive. So 9 minus 3 gives me 6. For the digit, now I have to decide is it positive or negative. So different symbols, find the difference, apply the larger sign. 9's a larger number. It had the sign of a positive, so it's a positive 6. Okay, and I know, yes, you can do these on a calculator, but I would tell you right now, if you get those basics down, you're not going to have to rely on a calculator, and it's not going to take you long to answer problems that are using integers. It'll take you more time to find these plus signs and negative signs and how to punch them in on your calculator than if you just sat down and understood how to break them apart. Okay, they're actually very easy if you practice them. Okay, you just have to practice them. You're going to get really good at them if you practice them. I'm going to pull one of these from down below and see if I maybe put more than 3. No, I didn't. I still stuck with 3. Okay, so here, let's see. Ones that have the same symbols. It's like a matching game. I like to match them together, group them together. Negatives. There's a negative 9 and a negative 3. So those have the same symbol. I'm going to find the sum. So 9 plus 3 gives me 12. And they had applied the same symbol. So negative. They were both 12 plus 7. Positive 7, whatever. And notice, I did rearrange the order. When you are adding, you can change the order. When you're subtracting, you can't. But when we're working with integers, keep in mind that we are working integers, which are positive and negative numbers. You can use commutative property and rearrange them. Just make sure that you keep the symbol that is in front of the digit with it, okay? So when I did this, I didn't just write 12 and then leave the negative laying somewhere else. I had to bring that negative with the 12, okay? So now when I go through and I do this, let's see, these now have different symbols, a negative and a positive. Find the difference. So the difference between 12 and 7, I'm going to think in my head of 12 minus 7. Difference is subtraction. I get 5. Now, different symbols, find the difference, apply the larger sign. When I compare these two numbers, 12 and 7, 12 is a bigger digit. it had a negative sign, so my answer is going to be -5. Okay, so I'm going to pull 2 out for here for you to do. I want you to go ahead and pause your video, try them out, and then check your answers in just a minute. Okay, so try those ones out. Remember, your sayings are same sum, same symbol, find the sum, apply the same symbol. Different symbols, find the difference, apply the larger sign. So I always start with finding those sayings to make it easier. So chunk them together. Find the ones that have the same symbol first, which means you're always going to add in that first step. And then if you're only working with the 3 numbers, then you subtract in the second step. Go ahead, pause your video and work through these. Okay, one thing I'm noticing on the first one, when you look at -8 plus +7 plus -7 is, yes, I could put my negatives together, and I'll do that. And then I'm going to go through and show you another thing that I noticed as I was doing this, and I'm sure some of you noticed it also. But because you're practicing those, let's group them together. Here's a negative, and here's a negative. So when I put those together, they have the same symbol. I'm going to find the sum. So the sum is 15. Apply the same symbol. So it was really -15 plus a +7. And when I do that, these now have different symbols. Find the difference. So the difference would be 8. And apply the larger sign. 15 versus 7. Whoops, I covered up my 1. Well, 15 is bigger. It had a negative sign. So you should have gotten -8. Maybe some of you noticed a number and its opposite. So here I had +7 and -7. And remember what happens when you have a number and its opposite? They cancel each other out. It'd be like saying +0. So -8 plus 0 would still give us -8. So if you're seeing those shortcuts, by all means, take those shortcuts. Okay? The older you're going to get, your brain's going to start to see some of those things and save you some steps. Okay, so if we look at the second one that you guys had, I am seeing a set where I've got positives. So same symbol, find the sum. So it's always going to be adding in that first step. So if I add 9 plus 7, it gives me 16. Positive, I'm going to put that on there. And then plus a -8. Okay, now we have different symbols. So that second step is always going to be to find the difference. So the difference between 16 and 8 is like saying 16 minus 8, or whatever the larger digit is. So 16 minus 8 is going to give me 8. Different symbols, find the difference, apply the larger sign. So when I look at these, the larger digit was 16. It had a positive sign, so positive.